Your hands smell like wool and smoke, and you're counting sheep only to stay awake when the sky suddenly starts talking. A shepherd is not the person you expect in a Christmas story. Not the first witness, not the first invited. But Luke drops us in the fields outside Bethlehem, on a night shift that feels like every other night. Cold air, low fire, animals shifting in the dark. In the ancient context of the Bible, shepherds live on the edge of town. Life useful, necessary, and easy to ignore. So why does heaven aim at them first? Then it happens. Light spills over the hillside like someone pulled back a curtain. An angel appears, and the first words aren't instructions or warnings. It's, "Don't be afraid." But that raises a bigger question. Afraid of what? Wolves, bandits, or the fact that the world just changed without asking permission? The message is simple and fast: good news of great joy. When you see the biblical background, good news is not just happy vibes. It's the kind of announcement a messenger runs with news that turns a village's attention in one breath. And the original Hebrew meaning shows us that good news, basar, carries the idea of bringing a report that makes people stand up and move. So the words land like energy, not a warm blanket. Today in the City of David, a savior. Titles stack up like bells. City of David means Bethlehem, yes. But it also means the Old Testament memory of a shepherd king. When you see the biblical background, that connection is deliberate. A king's town, a shepherd's job, and a newborn wrapped like any other child. Bethlehem itself, in Hebrew, can sound like house of bread, and the name suddenly feels charged because the announcement isn't landing in a palace, but in a place built for ordinary hunger. But there's another detail: the sign isn't a throne or a crown. It's a baby in cloth, lying where animals eat. In the ancient context of the Bible, that's a locator, not decor, something you can actually find, even if you're nobody. So the question sharpens: if this is the savior, why make the clue so ordinary? And then the sky fills, not with one voice, but a whole choir of unseen beings. They don't sing to Mary and Joseph. They sing over the fields, glory and peace. The sound feels like wind with meaning. The original Hebrew meaning shows us that peace, shalom, is wholeness, things fitting together, life aligned, the sense that nothing is missing. It's the kind of word that makes a tired worker lift his head and feel the night open up. The music stops instantly, as if someone shut a door. The hillside goes back to ordinary darkness, and the flock goes back to being a flock. But the shepherds are not the same, and that raises a bigger question. What do you do when the brightest moment of your life leaves no proof behind? So they run, not politely, not carefully. They leave the fire, the sheep, the routine, because joy has weight, and it pulls them forward. In the ancient context of the Bible, this is wild men with a job they can't abandon. Just abandon it. They don't debate, they don't plan, they just move, laughing and breathless, calling to each other like kids who found a secret path. They find a room that's crowded and breathing and human. A young mother, a quiet father, a child wrapped tight. And there it is in a manger, exactly as said. When you see the biblical background, Luke loves these small fulfillments, words turning into things you can touch. The original Hebrew meaning shows us that to see in biblical storytelling often means to recognize, to understand by encountering. They don't just look, they connect. And then the shepherd does something unexpected. He talks, not like a lecturer, like a witness trying to get the words out before they evaporate. This is what we heard. And the room reacts, people amazed, Mary storing it, the air charged. No gifts, no candles, just a story passing from mouth to mouth, bright enough to travel. They go back to the fields, but they don't go back the same way. The sky is quiet now, yet everything feels louder: the crunch of grass, the warmth of breath, the simple fact that they were chosen first. Memorable insight: Christmas doesn't begin with people reaching up to God, it begins with news running toward ordinary workers. What part hits you most, the sudden light, the choir, or the sprint into Bethlehem, and why? If you want more Bible character stories that feel alive, check out other videos on this channel.